Good evening. This is Daily Recall on July 4th, 2026. I'm Tom Stoukas coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario. Yeah, it's July 4th, Independence Day for the U.S. I'm sure they'll be interesting to see what they say about their country. 250th anniversary of the country's founding. I'm sure they're having the same existential questions as we are in Canada. You know, when you reflect on it during your Canada Day or Independence Day celebrations, I wonder if they'll have the same reflections as us. We see how Canada's changed. It's not the same Canada Day festivities anymore. So I'm sure the states will have the same issues, and we're kind of screwed. Like, we're being run by kind of commie liberals, globalists, just godless, Satan worshipping traitors. But the U.S., the people they're being led by the same corrupt politicians, destroying. Just, people are getting screwed over same way as they are here. Can't afford a house, immigrants flooding into the country. So we're both peoples are having a hard time celebrating. So I'm sure we'll see some interesting 4th of July videos. The Canada Day videos there wasn't anything, like, all it was garbage, basically. Showing all the garbage. There wasn't anything very exciting, very very inspiring. Okay. Let's look at the first post here. End birthright citizenship. Ending birthright citizenship is much easier in the U.S. in Canada than in the USA. Birthright citizenship, yeah. Only U.S. and Canada do birthright citizenship. So he's basically saying they need a constitutional amendment in the U.S. to get rid of birthright citizenship. It must be in their constitution that year. Obviously, the founders of the U.S. didn't envision millions of Indians coming over and having their babies here. They didn't foresee that. I mean, they didn't even have airplanes back then. I mean, and you couldn't even vote. Anyway, but in Canada, they just need to change the law, the Citizenship Act. We don't need a constitutional amendment. So you just pass a bill instead of a constitutional amendment in Canada. It's just need a majority in Parliament. So basically, any government with a majority can end birthright citizenship in Canada. It's just there's no political will to do it. Whereas in the States, they actually need a constitutional amendment. Like, they have to get it's a lot of hurdles to clear. Here, it's just the majority government can get rid of it. Liberals can get rid of it tomorrow. And, Pierre won't. I wonder if he would do it. Oh, sorry. So it's interesting why they don't get rid of it. It's such an abused thing lately, the last 20 years. All right. Next one. In the U.S., they had a Supreme Court decision just now saying, yeah, you can't get rid of birthright citizenship. It's unconstitutional. So yeah, the U.S. is screwed, just like we are. Just not the, just a different face is doing the screwing. But it's the same result. All right, next. Rainbow crosswalk vandalized by youth on dirt bikes. Langley RCMP say. I like how the police across Canada devote their resources to finding these rainbow crosswalk terrorists. It's hilarious. I think maybe the best solution is to not make rainbow crosswalks. That would solve a lot of the problem. Okay. Mounties. The Mounties are on the case. Mounties say a rainbow crosswalk in Fort Langley was vandalized by a group of young people on electric dirt bikes soon after it was painted. So they installed it June 22nd, and the damage was reported the following day. Why is this like a national story? The rainbow crosswalk was installed as a symbol of inclusion, diversity, and community pride, police wrote in a statement. Damage to public infrastructure, particularly features intended to celebrate community values and inclusivity, not only affects the broader community, but also results in unnecessary repair and maintenance costs. That's why I said maybe don't build them in the first place. Based on surveillance video from the area, police say 3 people believed to be youths intentionally damaged the crosswalk by riding over it and leaving black tire marks. The terrorists. Anyway. All right. So the RCMP are on the case. But you see this, lots of stories every year. It's kind of just lazy journalism, to be honest. It's like, oh, a flagpole or someone's gay pride flag got stolen. Let's do a story on it. Like, come on. Obviously, they should just not be doing these stupid rainbow crosswalks. And then nobody would be able to vandalize them. And then there's no story. You know? That would be just make too much sense. Nobody cares. Nobody really cares. The outrage isn't there, I don't think. Before, I think there was like this fake outrage, but now it's like nobody gives a shit. All right. This is the States. This is going big time in the States today. This is the Carolyn Levitt. She's the White House press secretary. And like I said about how Canada is being run by the traitors destroying the country, the States is the same way. They're being run by traitors destroying the country, but they might look like Republicans, whereas ours look like liberals, but they're really doing the same job, just different methods, same result. So she was basically saying how Gen Z, the people suffering right now with high housing prices and immigration taking their jobs and basically horrible standard of living compared to their parents and grandparents. And she basically says on Fox that they're spoiled and they're complaining and they got a silver spoon in their mouth. But she's like in her 20s. Like, she's good looking, but she looks like she's in her 30s or 40s, late 30s. But anyway, she married some rich old dude who was rich, and she was gonna marry some rich dude. That's how it works. And so now she's lecturing young people, saying they have a silver spoon. So she's causing a lot of outrage. And no, they're already unpopular enough heading into the midterm elections, the Republicans. And this is kind of like a let them eat cake moment. Let's see what she says here.
My generation, I hate to say it, Gen Z and those younger.
Mind you, she's a Gen Z who married some old dude with a lot of money. But she didn't have a silver spoon in her mouth. She had something in her mouth, but it wasn't a silver spoon, I guess.
No. Some of these kids, and I call them kids because they're in their 20s,
yeah,
and they've never had real jobs, and they're complaining things are expensive. Yes, things are expensive when you don't have a real job.
Right.
Do you think that's getting traction? Complaining?
Unfortunately, I do, because this generation, my generation, I hate to say it, Gen Z and those younger than me have been raised with just silver spoons in their mouth, just getting everything handed to them. That's not the values this country was built on. It was built
She
on
married a rich
meritocracy
dude who gave
and
her
hard
everything.
work, pulling up your sleeves, pulling yourself up from
Pulling
your
up your
bootstraps,
hair.
and achieving the American dream. And we need to protect it with all we got.
Is it laziness?
A little bit.
Is it because the professor said country's corrupt, it's evil, and we just need to shake them down and hand money out?
It's laziness, and it's the liberal indoctrination.
She got on her
You bring up
knees,
a
so
great
she
point
wasn't
about our
lazy.
education system. However, I will say a silver lining, so many parents that I talk to across the country are homeschooling, are turning to private education, are turning towards Christian schools across the country because they don't want their children being taught these communist and liberal ideas slammed down their throat. It's why President Trump in the White House has advocated so strongly for school choice across the country. We want kids to be taught to love our country. They should. It is the greatest country in the history of the world.
All right, I say, you know, if they misbehave, just make all these young kids join the army, right? Shape them up. I almost had to.
Send them to Cuba. Send them
Send
to
them to
Iran.
Cuba.
They'll want to come back real
That's
quick.
a good point. They can say hi to the gay Ayatollah. Thank you so much.
So basically, it's just like Canada. It's just like Canada. They want us, you know, they tell us to stop complaining, and they want to send us to war. It's the same thing. Canada, U.S. This is what they're saying. I know what she's trying to say. She's saying that they're teaching them to be communists in the schools. But the fact is, a lot of Gen Z in the States and in Canada are struggling, you know, and to dismiss their struggling as being spoiled and not working hard enough, it's, you know, they're flooded with all sorts of issues that we didn't have to face, you know. Totally out of touch. You know, she married some rich dude. That was her ticket. So she's getting a lot of flack for those comments, and you know, she's the president's spokesperson, so it's a big deal. It's likely he feels the same way. If you don't like inflation from Israel's war, it's because you're lazy and don't have a real job. Okay. That's some of the comments. Here's another one. She fucked some rich guy that's her grandfather's age, got pregnant, and then had a shotgun wedding. Now she lectures us all on the value of hard work while flooding the country with foreigners. It says we should all be drafted to go die overseas. Your base GOP. So, like, they sound just like the Liberals in Canada, destroying Canada, destroying our standard of living, and then scolding you for complaining about it, and then getting ready to send you to war against Russia. And the States are going to war against Iran. We're going to go to war against Russia. So what's the difference? All right, there she is with her with what do you call the guy with money? No, she's the baby daddy, but daddy, the money bags. Karen Levitt says Gen Z has become born with silver spoons in their mouths. Well, she put something in her mouth, not a silver spoon. Carolyn Levitt went to an expensive private high school, then worked in the White House, immediately out of college, then married a billionaire. I don't know if he's a billionaire. Her daddy's age. What kind of spoon is that? He has money, though. Just become a gold digger like me. She's not very bright for saying that. Like, I wouldn't judge her. I wouldn't judge her for marrying some rich old dude. That's her, you know. She's allowed to. But when she starts lecturing other people how they're being lazy, you got to find a rich old dude. Sorry, I keep losing my screen here. CIA. They're jamming the signal. All right. I blame the CIA, NSA. I gotta get a new part here. All right, more. And Jesse Waters, he's the guy who replaced Tucker. He's such a shill, that guy. He'll do anything for money. I generally thought Carolyn Levitt was 45, but she's actually 28, which makes her a Zoomer married to an almost boomer, 32 years her senior, who happens to be a multimillionaire. Rich of her to trash her own generation and cry about silver spoons. That's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't criticize her for marrying a rich old dude, but when she's starting to criticize others for struggling, saying they're just complaining, like, it's pretty tone deaf. Karen Levitt, who has 3-decade age gap with her wealthy husband, says Gen Z is lazy and born with silver spoons in their mouths, and if they misbehave, they should be sent to Iran and Cuba. Gen Z faces some of the most disparate wealth inequality in U.S. history, and Canada too, with relative purchasing power, especially if homes greatly diminished. So, yeah. So it's the same thing going on. In U.S. is having the same problems as Canada. Kind of makes me feel a little better. At least it's not just Canada screwed. U.S. is getting screwed the same way. I think just Canada, it's more on display because we have fewer people, so it's more noticeable. But yeah, she's getting there was a ton of responses to this today, so I'm sure she wishes she'd shut her mouth. Okay, next, let's come more closer to home. Man accused of sexually assaulting 5 women on TTC. Police believe there are more victims. And this has been a running theme about women, especially in the Toronto area. They can't even get on the damn subway or the TTC or the public transit without getting sexually assaulted during the day. We're not talking about late at night. I'm talking right in broad daylight. It's just so, I feel bad for the women. And I can't, I want to take my kids to Toronto. I'd be insane. Can't even take them on the subway without having to, worry about fighting 50 Indian dudes. Anyway, this guy's from Bangladesh. Same thing. Ban immigration from Bangladesh. From the Indian subcontinent. And Africa. And Haiti. Alright. Look at this dude. Ashrafel Alam, 30, of Toronto. Why would we let this guy into Canada? Why would we let this guy into Canada? Oh my God. Ban immigration from Bangladesh. According to Grok, he's Bangladesh. Bengali. Alright, man accused of sexually assaulting 5 women on TTC. Police believe there are more victims. 30-year-old man is facing multiple charges after police allege he sexually assaulted several women aboard public transit in the city's downtown core. This is where tourists are going, and Jesus Christ. According to the Toronto police, officers responded to a report of a sexual assault at 12:56 p.m. on Thursday, July 2nd. So, right in the afternoon, midday. Can't even go out midday, Toronto, without getting sexually assaulted. Investigators allege the accused sexually assaulted 5 adult women between 8 a.m. and noon while traveling on public transit. Police say the women did not know the suspect. Police also allege the man obstructed officers during the investigation. What was he doing to obstruct them? Investigators believe there may be additional victims who have not yet come forward. So they should just throw this dude on the subway tracks and get it over with. There's a second use for TTC subways. Throwing people. He should have been thrown on the subway tracks. So yeah, women can't even go on a damn TTC to get to work or to go wherever they're going without being. And it doesn't say what What did he do? Like, like obviously, we don't want to like glorify the details, but it's like, what did he do? Like 5 women. Like, what did he do? It's crazy. All you hear is sexual assault. You don't understand. They don't tell you what he actually was doing. Guess you got to wait for the 4 years for the trial to happen. He'll probably get probation. Okay. Women in Canada can't even take public transit without fear of sexual assault thanks to our traitor leaders importing millions of third world sex pests and rapists. Yes. It's horrible. Like, I'm a guy, I'm more annoyed by them than anything. But the women have to put up with the sexual assault and the leering and the ogling of the, obviously, actual sexual assault's more or worse, but just putting up with the actual just leering and attention, unwanted attention is bad. All right, here's Karen Levitt again. This is the future they want for young men. You can't have a good job, you can't own a house, and you can't have a wife and family, but you can go fight and die in foreign wars. Yeah, it sounds like Canada. It's the States, but it sounds just like Canada. It's crazy. Look at this guy. Man charged after alleged sexual assaults. Let's see if the news thing has any more details on this this Bengali guy. All right. So the police say none of the women suffered physical injuries. So yeah, nothing new there. Basically just rehashing the police release. What are you going to do with all these guys, man? All right, next story. Refugee who stabbed stranger could soon be freed from Ontario hospital despite significant threat to the public. Why not? Refugee stab. It's only going to get worse. Delroy Apple has 39 criminal convictions in Canada for offenses including sexual assault, assault with a weapon, armed robbery, assault on a peace officer, indecent assault, and probation. This is a refugee. I don't think we should be keeping him. So he's basically crazy. Looks like they have him. I didn't have sign in. I wanted to read this, but I can't. But it's ridiculous. Like, I mean, this is what happens. We have 500,000 refugee backlog. 500,000. And this is the kind of guys in the refugee system. And because they're refugees, they're treated just like Canadians until they're hearing. So yeah, he can do all this stuff and not get deported. It's crazy. Here, let's do Grok. Delroy Apple. I love the name. Hey, Delroy. I'm just going to pretend I'm stupid or retarded and crazy so they won't deport me. Delroy Apple. He's from Guyana. Africa, of course. Ban immigration from Africa. He was born in Guyana, received refugee status in Canada around 2010. after earlier moves between Guyana, Canada, and the U.S. Is Guyana at war? Guyana's population include major ethnic groups. Okay. So he's basically got mental health issues. He's insane. He likes to stab people. He's from Guyana, refugee, and he's been a refugee. He was a refugee in 2010. So that means he's been sponging off us for 16 years. Oh my God. Delroy. Send Delroy back to Guyana. Let them deal with him. I don't know why we're getting all this trash. And it's like we're stuck with it. We have to deal with it? Yeah. All right. Ottawa police released composite image of suspect in Orleans sexual assault. A lot of these sexual assaults. Now, I read this article. They said he speaks English, so he's probably not some African, so he's just some... Incident occurred around 4 p.m. in Heritage Dog Park. And a dog park. At 4, so women can't even go to a dog park at 4 p.m. in Canada without being sexually assaulted. How do you? That's the total definition of a third world country. If a woman can't go to the dog park at 4 p.m. in the afternoon without getting sexually assaulted, or she can't go on the TTC at 9 and 10 in the morning without getting sexually assaulted, then you're living in a third world country. Oh. A fucking dog park. I can't even take them to the dog park. Can't even take an Uber. Can't even get on a bus. Suspect is described as a black man in his late 20s or early 30s. Estimated between 5... Anyway. He has a gap in his teeth and shoulder-length style locks. Police say he also may have a wandering eye. Suspect spoke English and had no noticeable accent. All right. The point is I've seen a lot of cases in Toronto and now Ottawa, of sexual assaults happening in broad daylight. Like before, sexual assaults would happen I'm talking like random sexual assaults. Public ones. In public. Usually happen at night when the bars were closed. Whatever. The idea was you could walk around during the day and feel reasonably safe. Now, that's not the case. It's not the case. Next. So this will be the last. Not much going on. The heat broke at least. It's not as hot today at all. Holy shit, it was so hot. We're talking about wars. How Gen Z's screwed for jobs and housing. But they'll send them to war. They'll send them to war. This Ukraine thing. NATO members to unveil new funding for Ukraine. Canadian and European nations to pledge $114 billion. So while Canadians can't afford food, groceries, we're going to spend money, billions on Ukraine because we want to go to war with Russia. NATO's European members and Canada will pledge to give Ukraine 70 billion euros in military aid both this year and next at the Alliance's summit in Ankara on Wednesday. So yeah, more money for Ukraine. We've already given almost 30 billion. So yeah, the flood in Canada with Indians and Africans. Can't afford a house, can't afford groceries, but we're going to keep giving billions to the Ukraine. NATO's European members, okay. The People's Party is the only one that puts Canada first, not Ukraine. Unlike the fake conservatives, our position is clear. No money, no ammo, no aid of any kind to Ukraine. Yeah, they're totally stealing that money too. not just the Ukrainians, everybody's getting a piece. While the Ukrainian men die. Oh. So yeah, that's what's going on. War. Okay. That's it. That's it for tonight. Our next broadcast will be tomorrow, July 5th. We'll see if we have any good videos from the US 4th of July. So until tomorrow, have a nice night.